Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Welcome in. So glad to be back on here doing some more coffee chats. It's been too long. It's been a while. I really need to get back into this and start hanging out more with all of you. I hope everyone's doing well and hanging in there. You can see my hair has gotten much longer since the last time we did one of these. I've had one haircut in the last year. I tried to grow this out. I'm getting more of that like American Civil War look going on here. But I really appreciate everyone who has gone over and interacted with me on Facebook, on Instagram. I have a lot to talk about Blue Sky today. I'm going to be talking a little bit about LinkedIn. What else am I going to talk about? I got to talk about my Substack today and some things I'm reading and some other stuff. But it's good to get caught up again with all of you because I've been so busy with PhD work and doctoral work and doing some TA duties that finally this is the end of the term. And now I have some time to just sit down and read and take notes and do more live streaming and give you more content, which is, I know, something that a lot of you have been looking forward to. So I appreciate everybody's patience as I've been going through this. You know, it's been one of those things where my priority has been getting my PhD and getting that through. So I'm really happy to have the class portion of my PhD done. And now it's going into my comprehensive exams and getting ready for compiling, research, writing my dissertation. So it's nice that it'll be done with classes. That saves me about 6 hours a week right there. Barbara, good morning. How are you? Nice to see you in the chat. Been too long. As I said, I hope everyone's doing well. I have a lot to go over today. I've linked at the top of the chat. I put in my link to the tattooedhistorian.com where you'll be able to see all the places I'm at now, what I'm working on. I still have the link there for the Civil War Monitor podcast that I hosted, that series that I hosted, the 1864 project. I have that link there as well, so you can go back and listen to all those. I have my Substack linked on there, which I'm going to talk about here in a few moments. And obviously, I have all my socials on there as well. So please check out that website when you get a chance. It's basically taking you right to my link tree, and then you can just hit whichever button you like and be able to interact with me on different socials. I've really been moving a lot of things, or considering moving a lot of things here to YouTube from, let's say, Facebook, because Facebook has initiated a new policy to where when your live stream videos are older than a certain, I think it's like 90 days. I'd have to go back and look. They automatically delete them. And I don't like that. They would be deleting this after a certain amount of time if I was doing this on Facebook. And I like to have access to all this stuff for not only me, but for you. If you want to go back and review a top 3 event, or if you want to go and see Historians Off the Clock event, I don't want that to be suddenly gone. So the more that I am looking ahead with this project, the more I'm looking at staying here on YouTube with my live streams. All of my live streams are going to be here on YouTube instead of Facebook. I'm not going to do both as far as like YouTube and Facebook, especially when I know that that's going to go away. I want this to be on demand. So if I'm doing a discussion with a historian, you can come back 2 years later and it's still there. I'm all about keeping this open for everyone. And I just don't like how there's now this rule that after a certain amount of time, they're going to delete stuff. I think that's counterproductive. And, whether it's, deleting things off of the websites, off of social media, stuff like that by those in charge. Granted, that's their right to do that. But I see that as kind of like burning a book. You're taking away information from people. And I really think that the YouTube is the way forward for me to keep this stuff open and available for you. And I hope you feel the same way. I hope that you will help bring other people here and let them know that we're going to be doing a lot of different things in the future. I want to also thank everybody who was there for the digital conference that I put on last month. I had a great time doing that. We still have one person who she couldn't make it. She was actually scheduled to give birth that week, and so that obviously is more important. And I told her, if you want to come on later, I will gladly give you, your own day where you can do your presentation and we can chat and all that. So I'm still waiting to hear back, but obviously, family is more important right now. So that's fine with me. We're going to be patient and wait on that to occur. I'm also working on about 3 more live stream presentations for YouTube in the background, behind the scenes, especially as it concerns a particular book that I'm going to be showing you here in a moment. So more historians are going to be lining up. I also want to hear from you about the podcast. This is why I want to do things like this. And I'll ask this question again later if we get more people in the room, but I want to ask you now. I've been noticing that podcast numbers have been slowly declining. Downloads have been declining, at least on Spotify. I can't get my Apple numbers. It's a weird thing where I can't get to my dashboard with it. But I've been noticing a little bit of a decline in the podcast numbers. And granted, there are a ton of podcasts out there. You have a lot to listen to if you're into that sort of thing. I would like to know in chat, if you actually listen to the Tattooed Historian Show podcast, or you prefer this kind of a model where you like to have visuals and the audio, you like to have video, or you like to have live streams. Which kind of thing do you prefer? Do you prefer one over the other? Do you prefer both? Let me know in the chat what you think of that. But I've been noticing that with my overall, the numbers overall have just been declining a little bit. They plateaued about 8 months ago, and we're starting to see a little bit of a decline. And I really want to know from you, what is your preferred medium? Barbara, just for me personally, I rarely listen to podcasts. I prefer this live action chat. Okay, thank you, Barbara. I appreciate that. Both is fine, but from a personal aspect, I like going to a podcast. Okay, Danny, thank you. Thank you. I'm considering all these options, and I want to hear from you because I may change things up a little bit. And if you prefer this kind of thing, whether it's live or a video, we can go with that. And I can talk to people who have supported the podcast and say, hey, do we want to pivot? Because that's definitely doable. And I'm totally understanding of that. But I want to hear from you. And I'll pose this question later on, maybe in 20 minutes or so, as we maybe get more people in the room. Because I know it is early, and in some places here I'm on a little bit early for coffee. But I definitely want to hear your feedback on that, and I appreciate that, Danny and Barbara. Thank you so much. Anyone else who wants to chime in as we go along, please let me know. I mean, chime in a positive way. Please let me know what you're thinking on that front, because I need to hear that feedback from you so I know where you are. I know where to meet you. This isn't about you coming to me. This is about me meeting you halfway. We're a community here, and I'm trying to find out where the appeal is for you for information or for content. Because without you, there is no content, right? So I need to know where you're hanging out and doing stuff. So I appreciate the feedback there. Also, I've been noticing growth in my Substack, and I have my own Substack now. I've had it for a little while. And I've been working on how we, quote, do history in the 21st century, and public history and tech behind that and other things. I want to thank everybody who's gone over and signed up. It's free to sign up for subscription on Substack for my my blog there, the Tattooed Historians Dispatch. And the last piece that I did on a teaching tool for docents actually has some great numbers attached to it. So there is progress there that I'm really happy about and excited about. So we're going to keep that in mind for the future, that there could be some opportunities there that we haven't seen before. I know a few of my colleagues and peers, at least in the history field, have taken to Substack and have done remarkably well, and have made that work for them in amazing ways. So uh, I definitely want to grow that and allow that to be a free subscription for you. And I like the fact that when I create a blog, it automatically emails you and says, "Hey, the tattoo historian just created a new blog post. Here it is." And we get that interaction going. There's also a chat feature on there that I like, and some other stuff. But again, you can go to that link, the tattoohistorian.com up there. It's pinned in the top of the chat, and you can find my Substack in the list there. And I would love for you to subscribe to that because it is free. And I just did something on a walkthrough podcast that we performed last year at a local historical site, and how that's possibly helped some volunteers with understanding the lay of the land, if you will, inside the home, key features and stuff like that. Uh, I also discussed the timing of my last live stream when it came to the Revolutionary War and environmental history, why that was important. We have in our stuff about, I talked about hosting a digital conference, the issue with Facebook and taking down older live streams, et cetera, et cetera. So you can get the feel that what I'm doing is not showcasing like what other historians and myself know about a historical concept. We're talking about how we're doing it, how we are producing this content, or how we're helping others engage with content. And I think that's a thing that I'm really wanting to highlight. How do we quote do history? What are we doing, and why are we doing it this way? And how can we change things for a new era of public history? So I greatly appreciate if you went over there and slapped that subscribe button. As I said, it's free. And I only make money on the tattooed historian stuff really from my audience, from views on YouTube. So all my stuff is open and free. So please go and check that out. And I would greatly appreciate that. Also, I don't know how many of you may be on Blue Sky, but Blue Sky's been really taking off. A lot of great historians on Blue Sky now. A lot of us moved from Twitter a long time ago, and we have ended up on Blue Sky. I ended up on Blue Sky when it was invitation only. And I received an invitation from another historian who wanted me to be on there and to chat. And now it's open, and you can download it like you can any other app, which is great. We've had an amazing experience there, good growth on there. There's actually different lists that you can follow, and I'm following one called What's History. I'm also following one for Digital Humanities, and it's been great. I've really been able to network and to grow the network and see who all's out there and what they're working on. And that no doubt is going to lead to future live streams and interviews and chats and things like that you're going to be able to consume. And I love to mix it up like that and be able to pull people who I interact with from different platforms and bring them over here and have you interact with them. That's going to be picking up here because, as I said, for the next few months, I'm just going to be reading for my comprehensive exams. And yeah, that's going to take a lot of my time, but it's nice to have those kind of things where you can just take a sidebar and be like, let's do a live stream right now. Let's hang out with the followers and build the community and enjoy it. So people from Blue Sky, people from LinkedIn and other platforms are slowly going to be coming over here, and we're going to fill up the summer with some good stuff. And I would greatly appreciate it if you remembered to, obviously slap that subscribe button below. It's free because there's going to be a lot more happening on here, especially, as I said, knowing that Facebook is ripping down live streams after a certain amount of time. I'm not going to have that happen here. I want this to be on demand. So please let everyone know. And again, all the links are above in chat, thetattooedhistorian.com. You can go there and find everything. And also, as I said, everything is free and open. There's no paywall for my stuff. And, that's all about understanding that I come from a place where I couldn't afford and still many times can't afford to go to conferences because they're too expensive. I don't want my content to be expensive for someone, so I keep it relatively open, except for the views that YouTube pays me for, which isn't a lot. And once in a while, we get a donation or something here in a chat or something, and that goes right back into what I do with this. It goes in a little till, and it goes into maybe paying for the live stream software. So, I'm all about keeping it open and fair and stuff like that. So please keep that in mind when you see all those links. It's free for you to click on them and subscribe. Danny, appreciate the free aspect. Thank you so much for that. I like your avatar there. That's pretty awesome. Other historians I like charge for Substack. Yeah, I've seen that. It's a deal where many of us want to get a start. Want to get a start, and we are looking for ways to monetize in certain aspects and stuff. But I think the information should be free, and I think it should be available and accessible. You'll see when you go to my Tattooed Historian website, there's a merch tab. Again, and that's only for people who want to do that. That's not putting things behind a paywall. That's a merch deal, or people who want to donate in a YouTube live chat or something. You don't have to donate to be here, right? This is open, and that's the way I like to do it. Just because it's one of the things I enjoy. In fact, I still have the membership option on here on the Tattooed Historian YouTube channel, but I don't push it. I just want people to subscribe, because it's free and we can all hang out. So, it's all about that accessibility. It's so keen to me. So I appreciate that. Also, if you are working in the field or you are working with others in a certain field that's involving the humanities or art or history or something, I'm seeing a really big boom on LinkedIn right now. LinkedIn has become something new. It's not like it was 10 years ago. There are some great interactions happening over there. I'm getting a lot of great feedback from numbers on LinkedIn. Being introduced to a lot of different people around the world who work in this kind of industry, if you will, who work in this field. And I've really seen growth there for the community as a whole. So don't sleep on LinkedIn right now. There's something going on, and the interactions are up, and I'm really happy to see that. I think this is all a product of the downturn in the amount of people on Twitter. I think people have gravitated in different ways to different places. They go to LinkedIn because it's not as noisy, if you will. Blue Sky is much the same way. It's not as noisy as we would say. There's not a lot of noise happening in your feed. And a lot of people are really into that. And I think that's why LinkedIn is starting to pick up. And I'm excited because I'm interacting with people whom I have never met before, who sadly I may never meet because I have 600 connections on there of colleagues, but we can meet digitally and we can do live streams and we can do stuff like that. So it helps everybody out, right? To be on there. So don't sleep on LinkedIn if you're into that sort of thing. If you're looking for contacts right now, if you're looking for networking opportunities, looking for that next gig or looking for that next job or whatever else, next contract, there's a lot of museum people on there. There's a lot of people who work in archives, conservators, people who work in restoration. It's really picked up in the last year or two. And I wouldn't be sleeping on it right now. There's something going on there. Definitely wanted to bring that up while we were live this morning because the coffee is hitting now and the wheels are starting to turn. And I know what I wanted to get across as far as LinkedIn is concerned. But please consider that here moving forward. Other things, I said that I wanted to talk about some books that I'm reading. And I asked if you wanted to plug a book that you're reading, please put it into the chat. I obviously want to read more books. I love reading. That's a good thing when you're a doctoral student because you have to read a hell of a lot. But on the weekends, I don't read what I read for comps. The weekends are kind of my time to go back to the history field, if you will, and update my reading there. I'm earning a PhD in digital humanities and technology. So I'm reading a lot of tech heavy stuff during the week. I'm reading a lot about digital archiving and mediatized conflict and citizen journalism and stuff like that. That's what I'm doing during the week. But on the weekends, that's my time. I kind of, put that timestamp on at 5 p.m. Friday. Okay, we're done with this right now. And now it's time to relax. And so I've been doing a lot of reading, and thanks to the UNC Press, I've been getting, a couple packages here and there. Some of you have seen the books that I've highlighted on Instagram. I'll take a photo of me with the book, which is an interesting thing because if I just post a photo of the book cover, it doesn't get as much interaction as when I hold the book up with my face. It's an algorithmic thing. If you are in the picture, you will get more traction with the algorithm than if you just have an object. If you're holding the object, it works. So there you go. So if I just post a photo of this book, just the book, I don't get near as much traction as when I post this entire, thing, the book, my face, whatever else. Then the algorithm picks it up and it keeps going. So I tell UNC Press and others, please send me a physical copy of the book because it's going to be able to be seen by more people. And I finished this one a few weeks ago, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Carrie Janey and KT Shively with the second Manassas campaign, or second Bull Run, as I say, because I had an ancestor there who was mortally wounded with the U.S. Army. So just went through this, and it is fantastic. There's some amazing stuff in here. I learned a lot, especially about John Pope. I never read a biography of John Pope. So to get, an introduction to Pope in a different way was fantastic to me. There's some amazing chapters in here. The Army of Virginia confronts the, quote, moral spectacle, end quote, of freedom by John Hennessy. One of the chapters in here. Gary Gallagher has a chapter in here. The second Manassas in Confederate perspective. There's Keith Bohannon's in here. Cecily Zander has a great one on Pope Goes to Washington, and more. So this one is fantastic. I'm working on getting both Carrie Janey and KT on for an interview later this summer, most likely, because here again, we're wrapping up our terms, our semesters, and everyone has different things going on, and they have family functions and everything else. So it looks like I think KT may come on first, possibly the end of June. And then I'm going to try to get Carrie on around the time of the anniversary of the battle, actually. So it'll probably be in August. So it's a little bit later than I like to have people on because of the fact that I like to read and have them on, because then we can plug the book immediately. But we're going to get two for the price of one, I think, out of this one. And who knows, maybe we'll get some chapter authors on here as well. Obviously when I have Gary on, I have fantastic numbers. I think the best videos that I have on YouTube, like the top 3, are all 3 of Gary Gallagher and I talking, or him on for Historians Off the Clock. And so might have to have Gary back on here very soon. And shout out to Gary Gallagher. Congratulations on getting married. Fantastic news. Him and Joan tied the knot. And congratulations, my friend, on that. I'm not going to ask him to come on for an interview anytime soon. They need to have the honeymoon phase, and plus he's busy giving talks. So we'll see if we can get Gary on later this summer. But we'll talk about Second Bull Run, Second Manassas, and go from there. So yeah, good times. Fantastic book. I love edited works. I love to hear different people's perspectives on things within one book. I have learned to love that through my doctoral training. That okay, I'm interested in this chapter, but maybe not this chapter. This one I read cover to cover, but there are some books you come across where you're like, this chapter just doesn't appeal to me right now. I'll come back to it whenever it does. And I learned how to really accept that and move forward with it. So that's one book that I just finished. I see that Danny just purchased that book. Let me know how you like it, Danny, when you're done with it. Would love to hear about that. Also, I just reached out to UNC Press to thank them for fighting for freedom, Black craftspeople, and the pursuit of independence. This one just dropped a couple months ago, I think. I think this one just came out. And this is next on my to be read pile. I'll probably get to this over the weekend and get through it. It's a weekend read, maybe a day and a half. But I really, really appreciate the visuals that's in this thing. Just amazing amounts of fantastic visuals going on here. I'll get myself in front of the mic here. And the furniture and stuff that's in here is just incredible. And when you're reading about it and thinking about the people who actually built this stuff, it really comes to life. I mean, there's just amazing visuals in here. Let me move this over here. So really looking forward to diving into this one this weekend, fighting for freedom, black craftspeople, and the pursuit of independence. This one's UNC Press as well. And I'm really looking forward to that. And then finally, we just had the Battle Road event in Massachusetts. I just did the digital conference for 1775. We just did the environmental history of the American Revolution. I also received from UNC Press, they distributed this particular piece, the Two Georges, Parallel Lives in an Era of Revolution. I'm one of those people, I can never get the second part of a title right. I have to look at it. A lot of you know this when I'm doing interviews. I get the first part of the title and then I'm like, what is the second part of this title? I just can never get it. So this is also working in tandem with a new production at the Library of Congress on the two men in Myth and Memory. So this is probably going to be next weekend's reading. I posted a couple weeks ago that I received this, and it's just now, because of things slowing down in my academic world for the next couple weeks, now I can finally get to it and enjoy it. So really happy that UNC Press has been keeping up, this collaboration that we've been having for almost 5 years now. And I was introduced to UNC Press through my work with Pete Carmichael. And that relationship with UNC Press and myself has been amazing since then. And I'm really, really happy that they have, kept up that rapport with me. And we can talk about what works for you and talk about what works for my schedule. Sometimes they ask me, hey, do you think your audience would be into this book or that book or everything else? And sometimes I've had to say, I don't know if that one's going to work, but this one just came out in the same catalog. How would you consider sending me that one? And we'll talk about it. And that's, in fact, how I got the Two Georges, was because of that kind of back and forth, a very constructive back and forth where you're saying, let's think about this in a way that the audience is going to appreciate it when we bring these folks on who are either editing a work, writing the work, authoring a chapter, whatever the case may be. Or is that a good fit for the overall picture of what I'm trying to do here? And sometimes I've actually sent you sent them to other creators and said, hey, that may not work for my particular, live stream or video content, but it might work for this man or woman over here who's doing history as well. Again, it's that rising tide lifts all boats. I'm not in competition with anybody. I don't even know how many followers I have on Facebook. And people are always like looking at numbers and like, oh, I got this many followers. I got that many followers. I don't look at that. I'm not in competition with anyone. And I love to send people work. If it doesn't work for me, I could say, hey, that may not be my cup of tea, if you will, or that may not work for my audience, but I know an audience that will enjoy it and they have it over here. That's what it's really all about, right? I despise, and you all know this, I despise this manufactured competition that just happens where people are, working off of each other and then using each other and then talking about each other. No, don't need that. Good morning, Jaunty. How are you? Nice to see you here. Everybody go follow the Jaunty Crow as well on the socials. The Jaunty Cat is taking a nap right now. I made sure to give her treat, and then she's taking a nap. So she's enjoying life right now. Anyone reading anything right now? I'd love to hear about it in the chat. I'm sorry, I hit my mic. I'm always about hearing about more books and listening to what you have to say about them. I know a lot of people love book recommendations. I want to hear them. If you have any, would greatly appreciate that because, reading is exercise to me. It should be seen as exercise to everyone because it's cognitive exercising. I may not go to the gym and I may not lift weights, but I exercise the brain. And for me, that's the most important thing. I have a great fear of losing cognitive ability as I get older, and I don't want to be 40 years from now and then I'm losing, this cognitive ability of mine, or I'm losing the passion to read or whatever else. I think that's so very important. And so think of reading as like going to the gym. Take a couple hours a day and just read. Get up in the morning and get your coffee and read for an hour to get ready for the day. That's what's really important to me. So when I think of exercising, I think of reading. Jaunty Crow just finished Frames of War by Judith Butler. It's an amazing book. I love that book. It's part of my dissertation / comprehensive exams. And it's definitely something that Jaunty and I are definitely into. And, that one really is great. You need to read Susan Sontag after that, once you're done with Judith Butler. Or vice versa, read Susan Sontag first on war, and then read some Judith Butler. That's some good stuff right there. And as we are sitting here chatting this morning, I'm getting pinged on LinkedIn. What was I saying earlier about LinkedIn? LinkedIn is just, I don't know. It's hot right now. I never thought I would say that. But here we are. Anyone else reading anything right now? I'm trying to look back here because I have a pile of books. And I'm trying to think of what I haven't introduced you to yet. I did just get some books on Ukraine because that deals with that's part of my dissertation research. And so I have a history of Ukraine, current conflict in Ukraine. I have some of the 2014 conflict histories in there as well. So I'm working on that. But that's, the 2014 stuff's obviously history, but some of it comes into the contemporary. Danny, I visited a great historical site this week. If you'd like to hear about it, absolutely. I definitely want to hear about that. If you haven't been reading a book, everybody, this is another option. You can tell me where you've been. Have you visited a museum lately? Have you gone to a historical site? Have you gone to a National Park Service site? I definitely want to hear about that. Because of things that have been happening in the National Park Service, I want to hear that you're supporting them in that way. You're going to the sites and you're saying hello and thank you and all this other stuff. Where have you been going? What have you been looking at? James Buchanan's Wheatland. I've been there, Danny. That's awesome. I haven't been there for years and years and years. Um, that's awesome. How'd you like that? A lot of great info, way more than I expected. Yeah, there's a lot going on there. That's awesome, Danny. I haven't been there for oh my, I haven't probably been there for 7 years, 6, 7 years now. So that's fantastic. Well before the pandemic was when I was there. Thomas, how are you? Conspirituality, how New Age conspiracy theories became a health threat. Oh, interesting. That's really interesting. It kind of goes along with that reading we did about eugenicism and stuff that we did a few months ago, where we had Anita Se Chan on talking about the tech field and the underlying tones of eugenicists. Really, really, really interesting there. In fact, I still have a digital copy of that. It might still be free. The Anita Se Chan book. I'd have to look, but I really appreciated how it was free. Predatory Data, University of California Press. Danny, thank you for being here. Take care of yourself. Keep reading. Yes, it is still available on University of California Press. Predatory Data, Eugenics, and Big Tech in Our Fight for an Independent Future. Anita was on a podcast earlier this year, and you can still find that book for free. So I would check that one out as well. Since we have double the amount of people we had here when I first asked this question, I want to ask this question again, and I need your help in the comments section or in the live chat section. I have been noticing in the last 6 months, there is a plateau of the numbers of downloads on the podcast. And I'm starting to see the dip. Now, I want to ask you this, and I want everyone who's here to please consider answering me in the chat, because this is about you and how you consume media. Do you consume podcasts more, or do you consume more video? When you consume my content, especially, do you listen more to the podcasts, or do you like this better? Do you prefer video? Do you prefer live? Whatever the case may be. I want to know where you are so that I can meet you halfway and give you the information. That is so important to me. And so if I'm seeing that dip, that could be multiple factors, but it's been a consistent dip where it goes down by 5 less this week than last week, and then it's 5 less again. And I want to know from you, are you consuming podcasts regularly, or are you consuming more visual content? And this is going to help me, or I wouldn't be asking it. It's going to help me to be able to give you what you want as far as content in the way that you want it. So please let me know in the chat about that. I would greatly appreciate your feedback there. It would be a great thing to hear from you on that. How do you consume historical content now? More in the podcast realm, or more in the video / live stream realm? Please let me know. I would I could put a poll up if you want. Let's do it this way. I'm going to put live stream / video, and I'm going to put podcast. There we go. All right. I'm starting a poll. Maybe you prefer that way of letting me know. I'll keep that up a little bit, but I greatly appreciate it if you would vote there. Let me know there. You'll understand it better with this. Did you know that in addition to vaccines, incubators were controversial as a racial and moral hazard because they were considered to allow weaklings to thrive? Wow. I'm going to have to look at that book. Wow. That sounds interesting. Let me know in the poll there, everybody. We got 4 votes. That's good. We got 7 people watching. I think that actually is counting me as well. If I can get a couple more votes in here. Willie, how are you? Podcast, Ham and Jam, Islands at War, Forgotten War. All right. Thank you, Willie. I appreciate that. Good to see you here in chat. Thank you. Thank you. Again, let me know also in the poll question there at the top of the chat. How do you prefer your historical information? Live stream / video or podcast? I just want to know because I've been seeing the numbers and I got to go to you, right? Because if the numbers are starting to slowly decline, and I know also that there are plenty of podcasts out there. There's so many podcasts to listen to now. Some get tucked away, especially those of us who only do a podcast every 2 weeks. Then you get people who are doing podcasts like every 3 days. And obviously they're going to come up higher in your channel feed. So where are we with that? That's going to be something that I really want to find out about. And you can be like Willie and talk about, I listen to podcasts. You could say that I've got 4 votes right now in the poll question, and it's 100% live stream. So, I need to know from you what you're thinking here so that I can tailor the content in a way that appeals to you. That's what it's all about. Need to be able to do that. Need to be able to give you what you like to hear about in the way that you want to hear about it or see it, etc. So, Willie's got them all. Live stream, World War II TV, me, JD, Brad OTD, Rob to History, all fantastic. I mean, I'm not patting myself on the back. The rest of those guys are fantastic. Thank you for that, Willie. It was great to meet up with Woody over there for World War II TV and hang out with him in a pub in Bayeux last June. Hopefully I'll get to do it again ASAP. But with 4 votes in so far, you're saying that you prefer your historical information via live stream and video. I'm probably also going to put this poll question up on my socials where I can do poll questions. I really want to hear, what's going on with the audience. Are we just more now about listening on YouTube? Maybe some of you do that where you put stuff on YouTube up in the background while you're doing your work or while you're doing housework, cooking, things like that. YouTube is now becoming also like its own little audio space where people will just put stuff up and just work. That's nothing new. It's been happening for a while, but I want to know if that's what you may be doing. When we do a Historians Off the Clock, do you put it up on YouTube and then you do other work and just listen to it in the background, which is totally fine. You're consuming it, right? You're consuming it the way you want to consume it. Because I study how we interact with media, I want to know what your interaction is with that. And so, I'm going to leave that poll up for about another couple minutes, just in case anyone wants to, who hasn't voted can vote. But with 4 votes in, I got 100% saying, hey, live streaming video is the way I like to do it. Maybe it's the interaction. Is that what it is? Where you like this kind of interaction better than just turning on a podcast and listening to it. Some people may like that more. I don't know. So let me ask you this then, because we're all in here together talking about, the project and stuff. Think about what I've been doing with the podcast, where I've been introducing you to people who work in the public history field and how they do, quote, do history, right? We've had people on who are doing curatorial duties. They're managing a historical site, et cetera, et cetera. Would you prefer to interact with them with me kind of here, like we usually do, like we're doing now, like I've done live streams before. Would you prefer that over a podcast environment? Would you prefer them coming on and we talk about their work and stuff, and then you comment or you have questions or something like that about how they do their work? Would you prefer that over a podcast? Do you think that's more uh do you think that kind of model is made more for this? That series model is made for this instead of the podcast. I'm going to end that poll. You can answer me in the if you would in the chat. Barbara, we can comment or ask questions here live. Yeah, fantastic. Okay. Willie says YouTube is handy as maps and pictures help visually. Willie, I've really been thinking about, since you watch World War II TV, since you watch Woody, I've been really thinking about having more people on and give like a 15-minute slide presentation or something like what Woody does on World War II TV. And then we have like a Q&A/chat afterwards. What are your thoughts on that, everybody? If I bring someone on, let's say we try this later this summer, and I say, hey, do you have like a PowerPoint slide presentation or something about your work or about your location or something like that, like 5 slides, not a full 40 minutes, but like an introductory kind of thing with visuals. And then we go into like a Q&A/regular discussion chat. Would that be something that appeals to you more than maybe listening to a podcast with that kind of, I don't know, with that kind of basis of what we're talking about? What are your thoughts on that? I would love to hear about this in chat because this is important to me. I want to know where you're at and what we're doing and how you're consuming this. Because if I can give you a better quote product, that's what I want to do, right? So please let me know in the chat if you would. Is that something that would appeal to you? If I had a box that had podcasts in it with the same person, and I had a box that said you can watch a live stream with the person, which one would you pick? That's what I want to hear about. Which one would you pick? And you can just say it in the chat. You can just say live stream. You can say podcast. You can say whatever. Those are the 2 options. I don't know what option C would be, but I would love to hear from that. Willie, like that idea, quick presentation and questions. I hear you totally on that, Willie. I'm the kind of person that maybe it's Zoom fatigue from the pandemic, but it's hard for me to watch someone give a presentation for like 40 minutes straight with slides. I have to have a mix. I like to have the interaction. So maybe a 15-minute presentation to open us up and get the party started is what I'm thinking. And then you get the visuals, and then you get the information, and then we build off of that. Sometimes it's hard to ask people to do that as well because they have other things going on in life, right? And they may not have the time to do a 15-minute PowerPoint presentation about their work. That's adding more work to them. But if they have talked about this previously, I could always say, hey, do you want to draw stuff from a previous discussion? A previous presentation that you gave at this conference, etc. That might be a way forward. And I'm definitely, 100% on board with considering that. But I want to hear from all of you in the chat. I know there's more in here than just Willie, although thank you, Willie. I'm definitely going to take that 100% into consideration. Everyone's opinion in here matters right now. So, Barbara, just my opinion. I like to watch the live streams. If I miss it, it would have to be something I'm really interested in for me to watch a replay. Okay. All right, Barbara. Thank you for that. I do notice that I unless it is someone who is like internationally recognized for their historical chops, like Harold Holzer, Gary Gallagher, et cetera, et cetera. The live stream, uh, tends to bring in the most people afterwards. But if it's just those of us hanging out doing our thing, the live stream picks up numbers, but 50 to 60% of my numbers come from the live event. So I know that, just for instance, I'm going to look at my numbers real quick, but just to let you know where this stands, we just did the live stream on environmental history in the American Revolution. Okay. Right now, we have, I probably had 15 people watching at one time with that. Well, we have 10 times more coming in afterwards. So I have to think about that even though the live stream is over, some people say, well, I missed the live, so I'm not going to, because I want the interaction, right? Barbara may want to interact with people live. And if you don't get the chance to do that, okay, I'm not going to participate, which is totally fine. The thing that you want to do is not able to be done right now. But if people are just wanting to get the information because, it's something that's appealing to them regardless, they come back. Excuse me. So it's different for everybody. Some people want the interactivity. Some people just want to get it when they get it, and they don't care about the interactivity. That kind of thing is important to me. Where do you stand on that? I know that Barbara loves the interactivity, and I applaud that because the more you like the interactivity, the more you're going to be here, right? And that helps my numbers right away. And the more numbers and the more you like it, like I say, if you like the live event, just hitting that thumbs up, it's more likely to start getting picked up in an algorithm. So that free move that you do actually helps a great deal. So if you go back to any of my previous videos and you enjoy it and you just hit the like button, YouTube notices that and they start to say, hey, there's something going on here. Or you leave a positive comment or something like that. It'll pick it up. And it's free to do so. I often go through these other creators, like Willie had written there earlier. I go through other creators' earlier stuff, and I just hit the like button to help promote and get this train moving, right, on that stuff, because I'd rather that be in people's feeds than other crap. I want you to have the historical content and the discussions. So, that's important. I will pose this question as well on my socials. Because I think it's very important. And I also see that there's a decline, a subtle decline for a reason, especially when it's free content. So it's not costing you money to consume it. So that's not the issue. There's so many other podcasts out there. Maybe that's the issue. We're just flooded with the podcast realm right now. I'm not sure. Or there's something else there. Perhaps it's the every other week being produced instead of every week. Who knows? But if you prefer this mode, and if others say they prefer this mode, then I'm going to have some decisions to make about what way am I going to pivot with certain things, and what does this mean for the conversations that are going to be had? Because sometimes it's easier, to do one thing over another, but maybe that's not the route that's going to work. We have to work together on that. But I'll pose that question and I will let you know later on what the findings are with that after I have some conversations with some others as well. So thank you for partaking in that. I didn't think we'd be doing a poll question in this one, but, it really means a lot to me. Barbara, there is another thing. Sometimes there are just too many ad breaks on replays. You haven't had one ad today, which I appreciate. Yeah, the ads on my lives when I'm live are turned off. When this is published, the ads come on. And that's the ad revenue. That's the only revenue coming in to the project. So it's one of those things where I have to keep the ads on because I put everything out there for free. The ads automatically come on when you produce something on YouTube, unless you go in and turn them off. But when I'm, you know, when I'm not asking for people to become members, even though memberships are on, it's kind of like that's the only way I get 10 cents a day. So, Rob, how are you, my friend? Nice to see you here in chat. Nice to see you here. But yeah, I appreciate everyone taking part in that little exercise. It means a lot. Again, if you're reading any books right now, I'd love to hear from you before we log off here in about 10 minutes or so, 5 minutes. I like to be on here for about an hour, and then I got to get back to my academic reading for my degree. But also know that there are other things in the works. As I said, I have other live streams that are going to be scheduled very soon. I would say within the next week, I should have probably 2 more live streams scheduled. And then I have some other people to reach out to. I'm currently trying to reach out to those who edited this book, The Fighting for Freedom, Black Craftspeople and the Pursuit of Independence. Again, brought to you by UNC Press. I'm reaching out to them to come on and discuss that book and the work that is behind that and the message that is behind that. So that's going to be coming up here on the schedule, hopefully in the next couple weeks. And, I have to edit a podcast today. So we just talked about podcasts. So I have to edit one today and get that out for next Tuesday. And then we're going to see what happens after that. But again, going to be looking for stuff to put out there for Historians Off the Clock, going to be looking for more interviews. I'm going to do a couple more of these Coffee with a Tattooed Historian streams this summer, late spring, early summer. I'm going to try to make this happen every few weeks so that we can have this interaction and I can hear from you about what you like, what you don't like as far as the content is concerned, like how it's coming across or you liking the podcasts or you liking the live streams better, the videos, other stuff that's happening out there, what you're reading right now. I would like to hear from you every few weeks about that. So more Coffee with the Tattooed Historians will be coming up here in the late spring, early summer, and more. So, there's stuff that's going to be opening up now that my schedule has opened up a little bit. Again, I still have to read for comprehensive exams, but it's nice to have this break with all of you for an hour or an hour and a half every so often, just to be able to sit back and relax for a little bit before I go diving into the big pile of books and PDF files behind me to get ready for these exams. So I appreciate that. I appreciate everyone also putting what books you're reading right now into the chat and where you've been going. It's great to see people going to historical sites. As Danny told us earlier, he went to James Buchanan's Wheatland in Lancaster. Lancaster, as we say in Pennsylvania, it's Lancaster. Everywhere else, it's Lancaster. We know when someone's not from PA when they say Lancaster. So, Cam, welcome in. Thank you so much for that. Comps, the actual written part of my comps probably aren't going to start till July, I believe. So I have some time. So the next 2 months, I'm free of writing too much. However, I am going to continue to exercise my writing on my Substack, which, as I said, you can go check that out. The tattooedhistorian.com link is at the top of the chat right now. Would appreciate you going there and hitting every social site that you're on. Go give me a follow there or a subscribe. It depends on what the platform is. Remember that my stuff is free for you. The Substack is free. Everything I do is basically open access in that way, which has been what I've been about since the beginning. The only revenue I get is from right here on YouTube when YouTube pays me for views, for ads and stuff like that. Unless you are on YouTube Premium, you get the ads. But it really helps that, dollar a day can really help. You never know. It can go in. You got to look on the bright side, of this kind of stuff. I don't like to have paywalls, and I don't like to have stuff that you can't see when it comes to interviews or different live streams or stuff like that. If it's history focused, it should be open, and that's just the way I feel. And you know, yeah, I don't make the big bucks like other creators do, but that's not the point. The point is to make this open and accessible and have fun doing it. And I appreciate everyone who has tuned in to do that. I appreciate everyone who has donated over the years as I've been working on YouTube here, done the super chats, done some other stuff. So shout out to all those who did that. Thank you very much for that. If you were over on my Twitch channel for a long time subscribers, when you subscribe on Twitch, it's a pay thing. And I appreciate the support there. So thank you for that. But hey, it's going to be a great time here in the late spring, early summer. I'm getting the schedule started. I'm going to fill this thing up. I also have a couple other things in the works that are outside the Tattooed Historian brand that there's going to be probably some filming involved and also some other recordings involved. So stay tuned for more information on that when the planning stages start for that, when the marketing starts. I'll let you know. But there's a lot going on there. And I greatly appreciate everyone tuning in today and being a part of the conversation and hanging out with me for a little bit. But now I have cold coffee, what coffee I have left over. So I need to go warm up my cup. So thank you again, everybody, for being here. I greatly appreciate everyone hanging out. Please don't forget to like the live event and subscribe. That way we get more people coming over to the Tattooed Historian here on YouTube. Go check out your favorite previous live stream or video and just hit that thumbs up button. That really helps. It's free to do so. It really helps to get the thing up in the algorithm and people start to see stuff. I know a lot of you have gone to previous live streams and liked them. I appreciate that. It really means a lot to me. And the marketing for this entire brand has been done by you and me. It's been done by word of mouth. And that's probably why, you don't see as many followers as other YouTube channels, but it's not about that because it's not about the competition. It's about just enjoying the community and having fun and introducing you to other historians and other creators. That's what it's been about for damn near 10 years. September is 10 years since I started the Tattooed Historian brand. So we're going to have something go down in September. We're going to have some fun. I got to do some kind of a live stream for that. So we'll think about that going forward. But again, got to go warm this coffee up. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Please share out any video from the channel that you like. Share it out with your friends. I would greatly appreciate that. Or just go give it a like. Let me know you liked it. YouTube will know you liked it, and they'll start pushing it. And maybe we'll grow this community a little bit more and have a really interesting 2025. So take care, everybody. Be well. I will see you and talk with you very, very soon. Take care, everybody.